Now, before I start off this video, I want to take a moment to talk about what I feel is the most important bit of this news, and that is everyone that has been affected by the budget cuts and the loss of jobs in the industry. In particular, right now with Square Enix, it is a scary time to be in the gaming industry because this news seems to crop up every other week with a different company each time. And with me being a content creator, and I have worked with some incredible people across the board, amazing, legendary people that are passionate about their job and they do it so damn well. I just want to take a moment to speak about that because it grinds my gears, it annoys me, it makes me really want to just try and do what I can, if I can at all do anything, and I'm hoping that I can signal boost anyone that may be in a negative situation because of it. And I'm really hoping that they can land on their feet safely and be able to get back to doing what they love. Now, with that all being said, what is up guys? Jen here, hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel. We're going to be talking about Square Enix. Now, 2 weeks ago, we got the news that they suffered a 22.1 billion loss in content abandonment, which essentially means they dropped a lot of games that they were working on, whether they were close to being finished or just in the drafting period. But they decided that they needed a bit of a reset, and I can agree with that because we are all aware of that little period of time a couple of years ago where Square Enix dropped so many titles in a small amount of time, and not all of them hit. Maybe because they didn't have the marketing, maybe they didn't have the time to just kind of bake in the oven as well as a AAA game would do. Maybe it's because they were restricted to a certain platform and had not been able to be enjoyed by everyone. There are many reasons, but in a nutshell, I think this is a great move because now we get the focus on the games that matter. I'm not saying that the games that are not being worked on don't matter, but we can ensure that each game that does come out, they're going to be good quality games, and effort would have been put into all aspects from marketing to the gameplay and everything else in between. I wouldn't worry about not seeing smaller games anymore. They just won't come out as often as you would like them to. Final Fantasies, Dragon Quest, Kingdom Hearts, you can ensure that they're going to be continuing to go on and on and on, but other games that they experimented with, like Various Daylife, Harvestella, Valkyrie Elysium, Steelfield Chronicle, all of these, you'll probably see a lot more scattered and bigger gaps between them, because it's quite obvious that when they wanted to pump out so many of these games so close together, it did not work. So let's talk about the subject at hand today, and that is their 3-year plan coming from their fiscal year report for 2024. Well, 2023 to 2024. Now, the main talking point is the fact that they are going to be moving away from exclusivity. Now, a lot of people have been all over the place and misinformed with what that actually means. A lot of people are saying, well, they're already multi-platform, and in a way they are. When you look at it, they only have a couple of exclusives on PlayStation, and they probably have a handful more on Nintendo, but that isn't the subject at hand here. The fact is that Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth did do okay. They did well for the company. They contributed to a 1% increase, but they didn't hit the expectations that Square Enix had. And while looking at the board of what needs to be done, I think multi-platform is probably the way to go. I primarily play on PlayStation, and I'm not like, oh, well, no one's going to get this game. It needs to stay on PlayStation. I want it to be everywhere. I want to talk to you about Final Fantasy 16. I want to talk to all of you about Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, but if it's only on the PlayStation 5 and you don't have a PlayStation 5, you are going to completely walk on by, not pay attention, not want to be involved in the conversation, and have to wait. I think that what Square Enix are doing is pushing those days behind them and having a day and date just everywhere. Yes, Final Fantasy 7 Remake Intergrade came out on PC. Yes, Final Fantasy 16 is coming out on PC. And this is a good move, but if they focus on the next Nintendo platform and on Xbox and PC as well as PlayStation and mobile titles as well, they are looking into bringing them to PC alongside mobile because the big games like Genshin Impacts are doing. And I think it is good in the long run. More people that have access to your games, the more people talk about it, the more people trade stories, the more people influence others to maybe pick it up. And if I talk about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and how much of a great game it is, and they're like, oh wow, I might go grab it. And I said, well, it's only out on PlayStation 5 at the moment, and you might have to wait 6 months to a year to be able to play it on PC, and I have no idea if it's coming out on Xbox, and it's definitely not coming out on the Switch. It gets lost in the shuffle somewhere. So in a nutshell, them going multi-platform is good. So I'm hoping that I've cleared up this whole multi-platform debacle. I don't think it's PlayStation's fault. I don't think it's Square Enix's fault. I think they're just looking and noticing that things aren't working and they need to have a bit of a reset. Now let's talk about Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. Every report that I'm referring to, I'll have on the screen and I'll have a link down below, so if you want to check it out for yourself, feel free to do so. But Square Enix said, according to Takashi Mochizuki, that Final Fantasy 16's sales fell short of expectations. The initial momentum was in line with expectations, but the game failed to reach fiscal year goal as its momentum slowed. There's been no updates for the sales number since it was last announced at 3 million, but I believe that it can still achieve its goal over the original 18-month sales plan, and that the sales of Rebirth and Foam Stars aren't necessarily bad. They did alright for the company, but they did not hit those expectations. Now, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth sales fell short of expectations. Initial momentum did not reach the internal target, and there's not been a sales number to share as of yet for Rebirth, but we can say that it did alright, but it could have done better. Square Enix reported in their own report that these games, along with like the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters, gained them 1%, and yes, that is a very small amount, but it's profit nonetheless. And you don't need to think that Square Enix are crumbling. They are literally looking at every aspect of where they can do better. Again, I keep referring to it as a soft reboot of the company. I think ultimately I just wanted to talk about it and kind of get my thoughts out there. I'm not too worried, and I'm actually quite excited to see what the future Square Enix will be. I would love for Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 to be available to as many people as they can, and on that road, release Remake and Rebirth to more platforms so people can play. We can all be co-op together and we can all dive into that third game together with no restrictions on what platform it might be. I would love to have a mainline Final Fantasy on a handheld to whatever Nintendo may be planning next. I would love all these things. I don't think there's much more I want to talk about when it comes to the report. We're going to see some really cool titles as we go forward. It's not often I report on the news and discuss it, but it's just been a subject point on Twitter that I've seen so much confusion and so much kind of animosity between each other that I just wanted to get some thoughts out there and hopefully receive your thoughts on what you think is going to happen. I don't think we need to worry about games going away. I don't think we need to worry about games not being at the quality that we want them to be. But again, it is just heart-wrenching that these changes always include some kind of loss, and that is the great people that really push and support these games with their passion and love. And I'm talking about the people that are in the front lines in the gaming industry, and the layoffs just well and truly suck. I hope those people land on their feet somewhere and that their creativity can continue on. I appreciate your time. I thank you for watching. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. All the sources that I've referred to while talking about this are in the description. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to hear more Square Enix or Final Fantasy content. Hit the thumbs up button, and until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.